My name is Louis Hedge, I'm 19 years old and I'm one of this country's leading up-and-coming motorsport interviewers and journalists. So I've been a massive fan of motorsport since I was a small child. I always loved it and loved watching like Formula 1 and stuff like that on the TV. It started off just as a real love for it as a child and a great thing to enjoy at the weekends.
How did you start the YouTube side of the sports?
So, to set the scene, it's the start of 2021. We'd been in lockdown on and off for the last year, and then at this point, I knew that I needed to kickstart my career somehow. Like, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I sent out a few emails to different personalities in motorsport, some higher up, some lower down, in all sorts of different categories. And I asked them, would they do an interview with me via Zoom video call? Okay, welcome Jack Butel. Thank you very much for coming and getting involved. It's my first ever Q&A. How are you doing? And it worked out perfectly because none of these drivers or personalities had anything better to do because they were stuck in lockdown like I was. And I started interviewing them via video call and essentially turned a really negative situation into a positive one. When lockdown restrictions started to ease, perfect opportunity to transition to doing interviews at my local circuit of Snetterton. It worked perfectly being just up the road from me. You know, I'd be going to the events anyway just as a fan. So then transitioning to then catching drivers, doing interviews with them, sort of very much based around what was happening during those race events worked really nice. And I do much shorter kind of 2 to 5 minute interviews, which again worked better because we weren't in lockdown anymore. People were a lot more busy and didn't have the same amount of time, so that worked nicely, doing sort of shorter form content. Once lockdown finally did end, it's been really nice over the last few years to expand our content and work at the racetrack, giving the best insight to fans as possible. Okay, so we're here at a very sunny Donington Park for an unsilenced test, which any team or driver with a race car can come today, test it out ahead of the start of the season. And there's no noise limit, so we get all sorts of interesting cars here at the circuit today. Old Formula 1 cars, old GT, but crucially for me, lots of British touring cars here today, the main series that I cover. So I'll be catching up with a fair few drivers, hopefully, and working with one of them in particular. So yeah, it's a good day. It's a bit more chilled out compared to we had the official touring car test recently, which is super busy. And then it's a bit more chilled out like compared to that, and we've got media day in a week or so, and then the opening round where the drivers are full on. So a day like today is really nice because although they've got stuff to do, it's a little bit more chilled out. So yeah, it should be a good day. It's a great turnout. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Good to see you too.
Keeping well?
Yeah, all busy. I don't suppose some point today I could grab you for a few words.
At some point. I know I'm going to do a bit of a debrief now.
That's fine.
And then we'll 100% grab some words.
Awesome. I'll come and see you in a little bit. Nice one.
Well, Donington Park's quite nice because I don't have to get up too early because it's only half an hour down the road. So I'll get up, hop in the car. It's, like I said, half an hour down the road to Donington. Always get down to the paddock and pit lane straight away. Do a little scout out. Make sure I know where everyone is, where all the teams are. And then just generally it's just get talking.
How are you? Good in yourself?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good. All good.
You've got to respect that each driver's got a job to do. You know, you work around them and when they're free to do interviews, for example. So it's a combination of catching up with people, both on camera and then off camera as well.
There's been a lot of work and stuff.
Gearing up, but you know, when you go motorsport, I can go as fast as I can go, but there's many variables that prevent you being champion, and we know that, so we'll go with it, mate.
Perfect. So, Toby, we're here in a very noisy Donington Park pit lane, Porsche Media Day for another year. You must be excited to get going again.
I'm buzzing. I mean, listen to it. It sounds awesome. You know, the cup cars just got out their session. It feels so nice to be back.
How did you start to build friendships with the drivers?
It's a two-way thing in the sense that obviously, like I said, in lockdown they didn't have anything better to do, so it was probably a good way for them to kill time. But also, you look at it, and yes, they're helping me out by giving me an interview, but also a lot of these young and up-and-coming drivers really appreciate my support and my exposure that I can offer, in the sense that motorsport is all about getting your name out there and marketing and brand exposure and social media. So if I can offer them 3 or 5 minutes of interview time,
that might be the only interview they get all year. So that sort of thing is great. And like I said, both parties benefit from it.
Good to see you again, and I'll see you again next month back here at Donington for round 1.
You will do, mate. I'll see you very, very soon. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciate that. Good stuff.
Yeah, so when I first met Louis, I was like, who's this guy? Who is he? And he was quite a shy young lad at the time. But it's really great to see how he's flourished and built his confidence over the years. He's had some great support from the likes of Paul O'Neill and all of the guys in the Tocker paddock, which is brilliant. And it's so awesome to see him flourish from a young lad to a maturing guy that's doing great in the field that he's working in. When I came into motorsport properly in 21, I think Louis was one of the first sort of interviews that I had. But he's fantastic. He's great. He's really good at getting the most out of the drivers. He's a great interviewer. But commercially for me, it just allows me to promote what I'm doing, the cause that I'm in, talk about results, all that kind of stuff. It's really nice to have someone actually in the paddock that's really interested in the drivers. And that's what I love about Louis. He's right there. So it's awesome.
Perfect. So, Aaron Taylor-Smith, we're here at a very noisy, unsilenced test day here at Donington Park. The season's almost upon us, but how are you?
Yeah, it was really good. It's lovely to see you again.
They're still busy, the touring car drivers, but a day like today, it's not like the race week, because the race weekends from start to finish, they're non-stop. So like, all of the interviews today I've done are like north of 5 minutes, so they're a bit more, like, slightly more in depth, a bit more, asking them a few more questions. That one was just north of 5 minutes. Aaron, who I've just interviewed, he's gone from Vauxhall to Toyota.
Right.
So that was he was always planning on staying there, but then he made a shock move over the winter, so there was kind of all of that to talk about.
Right.
And obviously he's been busy like with all his like media stuff and like sponsorship and commercial side. So I asked him about that, and obviously like, because he's an unknown quantity, because he's never driven the car, no one knows how he's going to do. So it's very much like, what are you hoping to achieve?
Right.
So it's kind of that. So it's kind of asking those questions that everyone wants to know.
It's a lot about what's happening on that day, to be fair. You've got to be very aware of what's going on sort of leading up to the event and during the weekend. Like I said, there's always a whole mix of emotions from drivers, whether they're having a great day or an awful one.
He'll be back in 10 or 15 minutes to put the GoPro in.
Are you getting out a lot this year?
Watch events? Yeah, this is like the really busy part of the year, because there's a nice combination of days like today, like test days, media days, and then like actual race events, because everyone's starting. So what we've done already this year has been insane, like the amount of events we've been to.
Really?
But yeah, I've been doing a lot of touring car stuff, obviously,
Yeah,
again,
that's
because that's my main
my
main thing. But obviously that kind of really kicks off this month.
Yeah. When's the first race?
26th, 27th. Back.
Late this year.
Yeah.
A lot of my questions are based around the current events of maybe what's happening leading up to an event and what's happening on track. You've got to be aware of each individual driver, where they are in the championship, if they're having a good year, a bad year. So it's a lot of stuff that's about kind of relevant to that point in time.
So Johnny, here at Donington Park, Porsche Media Day. This is a big change, isn't it, from you? Junior Saloon cars last year, a big jump, but it's one that's doable, and things looking good, isn't it? Talk us through how your day's been so far.
Yeah, really.
Which is quite an interesting thing. People always want to know how certain drivers are feeling in that moment. But then when I've done sort of longer features, we're maybe covering a certain topic or a car or a particular story, or I've even done interviews where I cover the driver's whole career, which is always interesting. Like I'm always just so interested to hear people's individual stories, because they're always different and therefore unique and interesting.
What draws you to the sport?
I think it's just a hunger and a desire, because I want to be part of it, and I want to be the best I can at it. For so many years I was a fan and watching on the other side of a fence, wondering how to make it and how to get my foot in the door. So now I've built the foundations of my career. I just want to keep progressing and keep getting better, just do the best job I can, really. And I think it's a hunger, and people compare motorsport to a drug. It's very addicting. Once you start, you can't stop. You can't do it by halves. You kind of have to, you live your life to the full as part of it. So I think once you're in, it's very hard to leave then.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I'd like to continue just rising up the ranks as being one of the country's leading motorsport interviewers and journalists. I'd like to be working in the BTCC paddock. TV and broadcast is very much my aim, and I'd like to be with the ITV Sport crew, presenting or interviewing or commentating for the British touring cars. That's where home is for me. That's where my heart is. In an ideal world, I see myself as being one of this country's leading motorsport interviewers and journalists. So yeah, you can find all of my work, over 350 interviews and counting, over on my YouTube channel, which is Hedge Works Motorsport, where we produce the very best BTCC and British Motorsport interviews and exclusive content.